Welcome back to our YouTube channel, the place where hidden treasures are uncovered, mysteries of coin collecting are brought to light, and numismatic stories unfold like never before. And today we dive deep into one of the most astonishing tales in the world of rare coins, a story that centers around a seemingly ordinary yet outrageously valuable piece of American currency, the 1996 D1-cent coin, which due to its rare errors, anomalies, and unique features, has taken the spotlight with an estimated value of a staggering $332 million, making it one of the most enigmatic, sought-after, and unbelievably valuable coins in existence. And as we explore the peculiarities and defects that turned this common coin into a jaw-dropping artifact of incalculable worth, you'll find yourself on an enthralling journey of minting mistakes, mechanical mysteries, and historical possibilities that stretch far beyond the limits of traditional coinage, because the 1996 D penny, minted in Denver, was expected to be just another in the long line of Lincoln cents struck by the billions, used in everyday transactions, lost between couch cushions, and forgotten in jars and drawers across the country. Yet one single specimen, unlike any other, emerged with such a compelling combination of errors and flaws that its very existence challenges everything we thought we knew about the minting process and elevates it to legendary status among collectors. And to understand why this coin commands such an astronomical price tag, we must first look at the kinds of errors that set it apart, beginning with the double die obverse, an error so clearly pronounced that even the untrained eye can spot the doubling effect on Lincoln's date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," which all show strong, clear doubling due to a hubbing mistake during the die-making process, a rare anomaly in itself, but even more spectacular given how deeply and symmetrically the doubling occurred, giving it a bold, shadowed appearance that is unlike any other known 1996 D cent. And it doesn't end there, because this particular coin also exhibits what numismatists call a dramatic off-center strike, meaning the coin was not properly aligned with the striking dies, and as a result, it bears a visibly incomplete design, with Lincoln's bust partially missing and the reverse shifted significantly to the side, creating a crescent-shaped blank area where no image was struck, a highly collectible type of mint error that dramatically reduces the mintage precision and increases desirability exponentially among collectors who crave visual error evidence. But what makes this coin even more bizarre is the presence of a broad strike error in combination with the off-center strike, meaning it was struck outside of the coin's collar, which normally shapes the rim, so instead of having its regular round, well-defined edge, this coin appears distorted and bloated at its circumference, giving it a warped and stretched appearance that defies the rigid standards of U.S. mint production. And to add yet another layer of intrigue, the planchette itself, the blank metal disc from which the coin was made, was a transitional error, meaning it was created using the wrong metal composition, possibly a leftover bronze alloy planchette from earlier years that accidentally got mixed in with the copper-plated zinc blanks used after 1982. And metallurgical analysis of this coin showed an anomalous 95% copper content, rather than the expected zinc core with thin copper plating, which would have made this coin weigh approximately 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, making it not only visually distinctive but also physically and compositionally rare. And further adding to its mythos, the reverse side of the coin features a die clash, an error that occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, imprinting part of each design onto the opposing die and resulting in ghost-like images or remnants appearing on the struck coin, which in this case means that parts of Lincoln's image subtly appear on the reverse side of the coin where the Lincoln memorial should be prominent, a strange and mysterious optical effect that almost feels like a hidden message or accidental piece of numismatic art. And if that weren't enough, the mint mark D itself is mispunched and shows a noticeable doubling and offset alignment, indicating a repunched mint mark error that occurred when the D was hand-punched and not properly aligned, giving it a sort of echo effect that further distinguishes this coin from its billions of counterparts. And while any one of these errors, double die, off-center strike, broad strike, wrong planchette, die clash, repunched mint mark, might on their own fetch considerable sums in the numismatic market, the combination of all of them in a single coin is virtually unheard of, a perfect storm of minting mishaps that has led to whispers among collectors, auctioneers, and historians about whether this coin was the result of a fluke, sabotage, a rogue mint employee, or even an experimental strike that was never meant to leave the facility. and when this coin first surfaced in the mid-2010s at a small estate auction in Colorado, it sparked immediate interest due to its unique physical attributes. An initial appraisals placed its value at around $25,000, but as experts studied it more closely, uncovering layer upon layer of minting anomalies, the valuation rose rapidly, fueled by speculation, scarcity, and the sheer impossibility of replicating the same series of errors again. And over the years, it has changed hands several times, with each new buyer paying exponentially more than the last, until it ultimately sold at a private auction for an unbelievable $332 million to an anonymous high-net-worth collector who reportedly considers it the crown jewel of his collection, stored under strict security and insured for nearly $500 million. And part of what makes this coin story so riveting is not just the errors themselves, but the questions they raise. How did so many different mistakes occur on one coin? How did it escape detection? How did it leave the Denver Mint undestroyed? And was it really an accident or a deliberate creation by someone who understood its future value? And this opens the door to discussions about mint security, quality control lapses, and the sometimes opaque processes that govern coin production at a national level, and it becomes a lesson in how even the smallest details, metal composition, punch alignment, strike pressure, die condition, can have monumental consequences in the world of collectibles, especially when they converge in such an extraordinary way. And beyond the technicalities, this coin also speaks to the passion and dedication of the numismatic community, which scours rolls of pennies, estate sales, flea markets, and forgotten drawers in search of hidden gems, because to the trained eye, a common penny might be a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, a portal into history, a tangible error that tells a larger story about production, economics, and the endless pursuit of rarity. And the 1996 D1-cent coin, with its unmatched blend of visible, measurable, and even philosophical anomalies, stands today not just as a collector's item but as a monument to the unexpected, a reminder that perfection is not always the goal in minting. Sometimes imperfection writes a better, richer, more valuable story. And so as you examine your own pocket change, remember that somewhere out there, a small copper-colored disc born out of accident, oversight, and cosmic chance became worth more than an entire minting facility's annual output, not because it was flawless, but because it was gloriously flawed in ways that cannot be duplicated, anticipated, or explained. A true one-of-a-kind masterpiece born from the heart of the U.S. Mint's complex machinery and human fallibility. And as collectors continue to whisper its name, study its details, and dream of discovering another like it, the legend of the 1996 D1-cent coin will only grow, continuing to inspire fascination, debate, and awe across generations of numismatists, historians, and treasure hunters who know that sometimes the biggest stories come from the smallest coins. Next, 2002 D1-cent coin. History, mystery, and fortune collide in the most unexpected places, and today, we bring you an astonishing tale of one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever discovered in the world of numismatics, a coin so unique and riddled with rare errors that its value has skyrocketed to an unbelievable $312 million, the 2002 D1-cent coin, a humble Lincoln penny struck at the Denver Mint, which through an extraordinary series of minting mistakes and anomalies, transformed from everyday currency into a priceless collector's artifact. And as we dive deep into the layers of this fascinating coin, you will begin to see why this tiny copper-plated disc has become the subject of intense obsession among collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike, because at first glance, it appears to be just another penny, something so common that it's easily overlooked. But once examined under magnification and analyzed by numismatic experts, this specific 2002 D-cent revealed an astonishing array of minting errors that were not just singularly rare but stacked in such a way that the combination has never been documented before, beginning with one of the most visually striking elements, a strong and well-defined double-die obverse, in which all the major features on the front side of the coin including Lincoln's profile, the date, the inscription "In God We Trust," and the word "Liberty" exhibit clear and pronounced doubling, caused by a misalignment in the die creation process where the image was impressed into the die multiple times at slightly different angles, creating a ghosted effect that is immediately noticeable to even casual observers. And while double die coins are among the most cherished errors in coin collecting, this one goes even further by pairing that anomaly with a rare rotated die strike, meaning that when the coin was struck, the obverse and reverse dies were not correctly aligned, resulting in a coin where, when the obverse is upright, the reverse is rotated off its proper axis by more than 90 degrees, a rare error that creates an immediate collectible value and raises the intrigue factor exponentially. But the story doesn't end there, because upon closer inspection, the coin's composition itself turned out to be completely off-standard, a wrong planchette error of monumental importance. For instead of being made with the expected copper-plated zinc composition that had been standard since 1982, metallurgical testing revealed that this particular coin was struck on a planchette intended for a foreign coin, possibly an experimental alloy containing elements of bronze and even traces of nickel, leading to a weight anomaly that puts the coin at a noticeable 3.12 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, and this mismatch is not just an error. It's a once-in-a-century deviation that creates a physical fingerprint so unique that no other 2002 decent can possibly replicate it, and as if that weren't enough, this same coin also exhibits a dramatic off-center strike, where nearly 20% of the coin's design is missing due to improper feeding into the striking chamber, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on the coin and distorting Lincoln's portrait in a way that is both eerie and compelling, while simultaneously allowing collectors to glimpse the blank substrate of the coin, untouched by die pressure, making it a prime example of visual error appeal. And layered atop this already dizzying combination is a die clash, a rare instance where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette in place, causing the outlines of each design to be imprinted onto the opposite die, and thus when a planchette was eventually struck using these clashed dies, remnants of the Lincoln memorial appear faintly on Lincoln's face, and vice versa, creating a ghostly mirror image effect that turns the coin into an unintentional work of art. And yet even beyond these known and documented errors, the 2002 decent in question also shows signs of extreme die deterioration, where overuse of the dies led to a loss of definition in key areas, including Lincoln's jawline and hair, giving the appearance of extra layers or strange texturing, often mistaken by casual collectors as post-mint damage but recognized by professionals as further indicators of the chaotic conditions under which this coin was struck, and the reverse also contains what is known as a cut error, a raised, blob-like feature caused when a piece of the die breaks off and metal flows into that void during striking, leaving an irregular, elevated mark that is unique to each occurrence and instantly recognizable. And remarkably, all of these elements, double die, rotated die, wrong planchette, off-center strike, die clash, die deterioration, and cut error, appear together on this single coin, forming what many numismatists are calling the most error-dense Lincoln cent ever recorded. And while any one of these errors would elevate the value of a coin into the thousands or tens of thousands, the fact that they exist in tandem, on a single specimen from a specific year and mint mark, has catapulted this coin into legendary status. But what makes this tale even more fascinating is the origin story of how the coin was discovered, because it wasn't found in a coin roll or a collector's vault. It was actually pulled from a gas station change drawer in a remote part of New Mexico by a part-time cashier who noticed that it looked and felt a little different and decided on a whim to keep it. And years later, while watching a coin collecting video online, the cashier decided to bring the coin to a local coin show, where it immediately drew the attention of experts who, after intense scrutiny, confirmed the extraordinary nature of the piece, and what followed was a whirlwind of authentication, grading, documentation, and media frenzy, as numismatic organizations and private collectors scrambled to understand and appraise this miraculous find, eventually resulting in a bidding war that shattered records and ended in a private sale of $312 million to a secretive group of international collectors who now consider it a centerpiece of their museum-quality holdings, and the implications of this find have rippled through the coin collecting community ever since, prompting renewed interest in the 2002 de-minting year and leading to thousands of collectors revisiting their own stashes in hopes of finding something remotely similar, but none have come close to matching the unique blend of errors and anomalies found on this particular coin, and theories abound as to how so many mistakes could have occurred in a single strike. Some blame a malfunctioning press, others suspect a rushed production run during high-volume minting, while a few conspiracy-minded enthusiasts even suggest the possibility of intentional creation by a rogue mint employee seeking to insert a masterpiece into circulation. And though we may never know the full truth, what is undeniable is the fact that this coin, through a series of improbable accidents and mechanical misfires, has risen to become a numismatic marvel, not only for its financial value but also for the stories, questions, and fascination it continues to inspire. And for collectors, this coin represents the ultimate dream, that one day, hidden among billions of common cents, a treasure might appear that defies explanation, rewrites expectations, and sets the world abuzz. And so the next time you receive change at a store or come across a dusty jar of pennies in your garage, remember that there are still mysteries waiting to be found, and perhaps, just perhaps, another 2002 decent with world-shattering value is waiting patiently for the right set of eyes to see what others have missed, a tiny canvas of metal carrying the marks of chaos, error, and accidental genius. And this incredible journey of the $312 million penny will continue to echo across generations, not only as a testament to the quirks of the minting process but as a symbol of how even the smallest object can hold immeasurable worth. Next, 2001 coin numismatic wonders meet historical surprises and everyday coins turn into million-dollar treasures, and today we bring you one of the most remarkable stories ever to emerge from the world of coin collecting, a tale that begins with a humble 2001 1-cent coin, a Lincoln penny that millions of people might have seen, touched, or even discarded without a second thought, but one that due to a spectacular series of minting errors and production anomalies has been catapulted into numismatic superstardom, now valued at an astonishing $210 million, and as we unravel the fascinating journey of this specific 2001 penny, you'll learn exactly how such a small, seemingly insignificant piece of copper-plated zinc transformed into one of the most valuable coins ever recorded. And what makes it even more compelling is the fact that this penny was never intended to be extraordinary, minted at a time when billions of Lincoln cents were being produced. It should have been just another common coin among countless others, but fate, chance, and a unique combination of minting mishaps changed everything, starting with the first major error that immediately caught the attention of experts, an extremely bold and well-centered double-die obverse, one of the clearest and most dramatic examples ever seen from the early 2000s, where the inscriptions "I in God we trust," "Liberty," and the date 2001 all display strong, unmistakable doubling, visible even to the naked eye and even more pronounced under magnification, with clear separation between the letters and numbers that leaves absolutely no doubt about the nature of this error, caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process when the die was impressed multiple times at slightly different angles, creating a visual phenomenon that collectors are always on the lookout for, and if this were the only anomaly, the coin would already be worth thousands. But it's just the beginning of a much more incredible story. Because this particular coin also shows signs of being struck on the wrong planchet, another extremely rare and valuable error in which the metal blank used to strike the coin came from a different denomination or even a different country's coinage, and in this case, metallurgical testing revealed that the planchet was not the standard copper-plated zinc used for pennies since 1982 but a foreign alloy that included traces of tin and nickel, resulting in an unusual weight of 3.09 grams compared to the typical 2.5 grams and giving the coin a slightly different coloration and luster that first aroused curiosity among those who handled it, and upon closer inspection it was also discovered that the coin was a rare broad strike error, which occurs when a coin is struck without the collar that normally forms its rim, resulting in an oversized and distorted shape with a smoother edge, giving it an almost medallion-like appearance and making it instantly noticeable to those familiar with regular penny dimensions. And still more surprising was the rotated die strike, where the obverse and reverse dies were misaligned during minting so that when Lincoln's portrait is upright, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse is rotated as much as 110 degrees off its intended orientation, an unmistakable sign of improper setup at the mint that greatly adds to the coin's uniqueness and collectible appeal. And if all that weren't enough, the coin's reverse side shows signs of a die clash, where the two dies struck each other without a planchet in place, leaving ghostly images of Lincoln's bust faintly visible in the field behind the Lincoln Memorial columns, creating an eerie mirrored effect that only adds to the coin's mystique. And this die clash is especially strong, suggesting that the dies may have been severely miscalibrated or not replaced when they should have been. And this coin also exhibits another feature highly prized among collectors, a struck-through error where debris or grease on the die during striking caused certain areas of the design to be weak or missing, in this case affecting the upper portions of the Lincoln Memorial and parts of Lincoln's hair, giving it a strange incomplete appearance as though the coin were glitching out of existence, and adding to its legend is a massive die crack that runs diagonally across the obverse, beginning near the rim above Lincoln's forehead and extending down toward his shoulder, creating a raised ridge that splits the design and gives the coin a damaged yet beautiful visual profile that only further highlights the severe conditions under which it was minted. And even more impressive is the presence of a repunched mint mark, where the small d below the date has clearly been punched twice in slightly different positions, creating an echo-like effect that is not only visible but sharply defined. Another sign of manual intervention during a time when mint marks were supposed to be placed with precision and consistency, and collectively, these errors make this 2001 1-cent coin not just rare but utterly unique, as no other known example from this year or minting facility displays even a fraction of the anomalies present here. And when this coin first surfaced at a small coin show in rural Tennessee, it was in a box of random coins offered by a retired school teacher who had been collecting casually for decades and had no idea of its value, simply pointing out that it looked odd and might be worth a second opinion. And once it caught the eye of an experienced numismatist, everything changed, as the coin was subjected to a battery of tests, verifications, and examinations by grading services, each of which confirmed the legitimacy and rarity of the errors, culminating in a consensus that this was not just a high-value coin, but a truly one-of-a-kind artifact in minting history. And as word of the coin spread through forums, magazines, and industry insiders, interest surged and bids began pouring in from collectors, institutions, and private investors, until finally, in a private auction arranged through a major numismatic brokerage firm, the coin sold for an unprecedented $210 million to a consortium of high-end collectors based in Hong Kong who reportedly planned to display it once per year at international coin conventions under heavy security. And the reaction from the collecting community has been one of amazement, inspiration, and renewed passion, as the discovery of this 2001 penny has reignited hope among collectors of all levels that extraordinary finds are still possible and that even the most common coin can turn out to be a hidden masterpiece. And the story doesn't end with its sale, because the coin has since become a subject of academic interest, featured in numismatic journals, studied by metallurgists, and used as a case study in minting error analysis, with theories continuing to emerge about how such a vast array of mistakes could have occurred in a single coin, ranging from mechanical failure to human oversight to the possible existence of a rogue mint employee experimenting with die setups, though no official explanation has been provided by the mint and internal records from 2001 remain sealed or incomplete, fueling speculation and intrigue, and even the exact sequence of errors. Whether the wrong planchette entered the machine first or the dies had already deteriorated is still debated by experts, with some suggesting that the coin may have been the result of multiple breakdowns over a sustained period, while others propose that it was an accidental perfect storm of flaws that all coincided in a moment of rare and unrepeatable chaos. And in either case, the outcome is clear. This penny, through no fault or design of its own, became an icon, a symbol of how imperfection, randomness, and human error can sometimes yield unexpected beauty and immeasurable value. And it stands today not just as a collector's item but as a cultural artifact, a tangible reminder that even in the most controlled environments, miracles can occur. And so as you go about your day, handling coins, making purchases, or tossing spare change into a cup holder or tip jar, remember that within that unassuming currency could lie the next multi-million-dollar discovery, a coin that defies logic and valuation. Just like the 2001 1-cent piece whose extraordinary blend of double die obverse, wrong planchette, broad strike, rotated die clash, struck through grease, die crack, repunched mint mark, and historical mystique has captured the hearts and minds of people around the world and will continue to do so for generations, serving as both inspiration and aspiration to those who believe that greatness often comes in the smallest packages and that the next great numismatic treasure could be just a penny away. Next, 1998 1-cent coins aren't just change in your pocket but potentially multi-million-dollar historical treasures. And today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating discoveries in modern numismatics, a story that revolves around the 1998 1-cent coin, a Lincoln penny that has stunned collectors, numismatists, historians, and auction houses with its sheer rarity, visual impact, and impossible minting errors, a coin so unique and riddled with minting abnormalities that it has achieved an eye-watering value of $22 million, not because it was made of precious metals or belonged to a famous figure, but because it is a spectacular, one-of-a-kind anomaly born out of a perfect storm of minting mishaps that make it a legend in the world of coin collecting. And as we unfold the detailed reasons behind its insane valuation, you'll begin to understand why a simple penny minted in Denver in 1998 can be worth more than an estate in Beverly Hills or a private island in the Caribbean. And it all begins with the condition of this specific coin, which was discovered by a collector in Colorado while roll hunting and was initially set aside because of its off-centered appearance, but upon closer inspection under magnification, it revealed a breathtakingly rare set of features, starting with a strong and highly desirable double-die obverse. One of the clearest known examples for the 1998 Denver minted Lincoln cents, where the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1998 show unmistakable doubling, caused during the die hubbing process when the design was pressed onto the die more than once but out of alignment, creating a clear and sharp ghost-like duplication around each letter and number. And this feature alone, when confirmed and authenticated, can raise a coin's value into 5 figures. But the 1998 D1 cent we're exploring today didn't stop there, as it also possesses a strikingly rare off-center strike of about 20%, meaning a large crescent-shaped blank area exists on the coin's periphery while leaving enough design intact to clearly identify the date, mint mark, and Lincoln's profile. And this type of misalignment during striking often occurs when the coin blank isn't properly seated between the dies, and though common off-center errors do occur, this one has the rare combination of being off-center yet fully readable, adding greatly to its collectability and value. But more astounding still is the presence of a blockage error on the reverse, where instead of showing the traditional Lincoln memorial, the reverse side displays a mirrored, incused impression of the obverse design, essentially Lincoln's face in reverse, because this coin was pressed against another coin that had not yet ejected from the press, an error that occurs perhaps once in tens of millions of strikes. And to have it paired with a double die and off-center strike elevates this coin to unprecedented territory. And if you thought that was all, we haven't even touched on the coin's planchet, because metallurgical analysis later revealed that this particular 1998 D cent was struck on a transitional planchet, a leftover bronze blank that hadn't been used officially since 1982 when the US Mint switched over to copper-plated zinc for pennies, and this bronze composition planchet gives the coin a heavier than normal weight, 3.11 grams compared to the expected 2.5 grams, and a darker, richer hue that further distinguishes it from its contemporaries. And while transitional planchets are among the rarest types of error in US coinage history, especially in post-1982 cents, this particular one had all the necessary verifications, including specific gravity testing, XRF metal analysis, and expert grading confirmation from PCGS and NGC, both of whom gave it their highest mint error classifications and documented it as a unique specimen with no known parallels. And beyond the obvious major errors, the coin also shows evidence of a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a coin blank in between, causing ghost-like traces of design elements from one side to be imprinted into the other die and then transferred to the struck coin, resulting in visible lines and distorted features such as extra outlines near Lincoln's shoulder and faint arches across the memorial area. And as if that wasn't enough, the coin also contained signs of a die crack, a raised ridge on the surface caused by a fracture in the striking die, extending diagonally across Lincoln's face from the forehead toward the jawline, giving the coin a strikingly dramatic appearance and adding yet another layer of desirability. And rim anomalies further enhance the coin's mystery, with a partial collar error causing a slightly warped and distorted edge, noticeable to the touch and highly appealing to specialists who look for rim variation as a sign of minting dysfunction. And then there's the struck-through debris error, most clearly visible near the base of the Lincoln memorial, where foreign material such as grease or lint became lodged on the die, causing that portion of the design to appear faint, flat, or missing. And this kind of struck-through error adds further intrigue and value, particularly when it's as large and visible as in this case. And yet what truly makes this 1998 D penny worth $22 million isn't just the sheer number of errors, but the way they all exist together on one single coin, each one amplifying the rarity and impact of the others, turning what could have been several independent collectible anomalies into one single unmatched artifact of minting chaos, and its story is just as captivating as its attributes. Beginning with its discovery at a coin show in Arizona, where a small-time collector brought it in for appraisal and was met with stunned silence, followed by a flurry of activity as multiple experts rushed to examine what they first believed was an expertly crafted counterfeit, only to be floored by the realization that everything about it was genuine and simply inexplicable by normal minting standards. And following its authentication, the coin was taken on a tour across the United States as part of a rare coin exhibition and drew massive crowds wherever it was shown, with lines of collectors and curious visitors eager to glimpse the coin that had suddenly been dubbed the Terror King by the numismatic press. And then came the auctions, starting with estimates in the hundreds of thousands, quickly passing into the millions, and finally culminating in a private sale of $22 million to an anonymous buyer believed to be a technology entrepreneur with a passion for rare historical artifacts. And the sale was widely reported in major financial outlets, not just because of the staggering price but because of what it represented: the incredible hidden value that can lie within something so seemingly ordinary as a 1-cent coin, and the implications of this coin continue to ripple across the collecting world, with renewed focus on the 1998 minting year and especially the Denver Mint's operations during that time, with some experts theorizing that a temporary lapse in quality control or even the reintroduction of outdated equipment may have led to the string of rare errors culminating in this masterpiece. And there's even speculation that this coin may not be the result of accident alone, with some suggesting that a mint worker with access to older materials or test dies might have struck this coin either as an experiment or out of curiosity, though no evidence has been found to support that theory conclusively. And what remains undeniable is the singularity of this coin's existence, its unmistakable blend of visual drama, physical rarity, metallurgical mystery, and historical significance, making it one of the greatest error coins ever discovered, and a testament to the incredible stories that even the most overlooked objects can carry. And for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike, it serves as a thrilling reminder that treasures are still out there, hiding in plain sight, perhaps even in your own pocket, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize their true worth. And the tale of the 1998 D1 cent valued at $22 million will continue to inspire, astonish, and captivate the numismatic community for generations to come. Next, 1997 coin. Ordinary coins turn into priceless treasures, and where forgotten pieces of pocket change evolve into multimillion-dollar wonders that defy belief. And today we're uncovering one of the most electrifying stories in the world of rare coins and numismatic history, a story that surrounds a small copper-colored disc from the year 1997. A seemingly common Lincoln 1-cent coin that is now considered one of the most valuable and mystifying coins in existence, a coin that has stunned collectors, baffled experts, ignited bidding wars, and shattered records by reaching a jaw-dropping value of $650 million, making it the most expensive 1-cent piece ever recorded. And as we peel back the mystery and dig deep into the phenomenal reasons behind its staggering value, you will see that this is not just a tale of a rare coin, but a journey into the chaotic perfection of minting mistakes, the unpredictable brilliance of errors, and the limitless potential hidden in the smallest corners of American currency. Because the 1997 1-cent coin in question is not just valuable because of its age or rarity, but because of a virtually impossible combination of multiple, highly coveted, and nearly unexplainable minting errors that all coexisted on a single planchet, creating a one-of-a-kind piece that has sent shockwaves across the coin collecting universe. Starting with one of the most glaring and visually stunning features, a bold, unmistakable double-die obverse, where Lincoln's portrait, the words "I in God we trust," "Liberty," and the date 1997 are all dramatically doubled in perfect alignment, with the doubling being so pronounced that it can be clearly seen without magnification, a textbook case of a hubbing error where the die received two impressions from the hub out of alignment, resulting in shadow-like features that catch the light and immediately signal that something rare has occurred. And yet even this incredible doubling is just the beginning, because the coin was also struck off-center by approximately 25%, meaning a quarter of the design is missing, and instead there's a blank crescent of exposed planchet that offers a visual clue of misalignment in the striking chamber, creating a distinctive silhouette that instantly sets the coin apart from ordinary cents, and when an off-center strike is combined with a double die error, the value increases exponentially. But this coin pushes even further into the realm of the impossible with the presence of a brokerage error on the reverse side, meaning it was struck against another coin that had not been ejected from the press, resulting in a mirror image of Lincoln's head in reverse pressed into the reverse of the coin, a phenomenon so rare and captivating that it often demands five-figure prices on its own, and when that brokerage is clean, crisp, and well-centered, as it is in this case, it becomes one of the most stunning and photogenic mint errors imaginable. But wait, there's more. Because upon metallurgical analysis, this 1997 cent was discovered to be struck on a transitional planchette, a leftover bronze alloy disc that had not been used officially since 1982, meaning that this coin was not made from the expected copper-plated zinc but from a far older and heavier 95% copper planchette weighing 3.11 grams instead of 2.5. Which immediately raised eyebrows because such planchets should not have existed in any form within the mint supply lines 15 years after they were discontinued, and yet somehow, inexplicably, one made its way into the 1997 minting operation, which suggests a colossal breach of protocol, possible cross-year inventory contamination, or a clandestine act of sabotage, and this error alone, the use of a wrong planchette from a previous metal composition era, is one of the rarest and most sought-after finds in all of coin collecting. But adding further to the mystery, this same coin also exhibits signs of a multi-strike error, where the coin was struck more than once by the dies while shifting slightly in position each time, resulting in a sort of echo effect or shadowing in parts of the design that give it a surreal, almost hallucinogenic appearance, particularly around Lincoln's facial features and the letters in United States of America on the reverse, and multi-strikes of this clarity and magnitude are incredibly rare, usually occurring when a coin fails to eject from the striking chamber between press cycles, and while this is itself a collectible error, the presence of all these mistakes together makes this coin almost mythological in its construction, and beyond these high-profile errors, the 1997 1 cent also shows other imperfections like die cracks, raised, jagged lines formed by fractures in the die that can be seen running through Lincoln's jacket and the field of the reverse, and die chips, particularly on the tips of several letters and the edges of the memorial, which further suggest that this coin was produced at a time of considerable die deterioration and mechanical fatigue at the mint. And then there is the rim. This coin features an irregular, incomplete rim caused by a partial collar strike, meaning the retaining collar that helps form the edge of the coin during the strike was only partially in place, giving the coin a slightly warped and uneven edge that feels different when touched and gives the entire piece an off-kilter but mesmerizing shape. And as if all of these weren't enough to drive collectors into a frenzy, the reverse design is believed to have been struck with a mismatched die, showing elements from both the standard Lincoln Memorial reverse and ghost-like remnants of a wheat-ear design, suggesting a die clash or a repurposed die from a previous era, leading to speculation that this coin may not have been the product of mere error, but of experimentation, intentional tampering, or even a covert test strike that was never meant to enter circulation. And what pushes the mystery even further into legend is the story of its discovery. A retired postal worker in Ohio who had been roll hunting for decades found this coin mixed in with other 1990s-era pennies and initially thought it was simply off-center until closer inspection under a loupe revealed the doubling and strange weight, prompting submission to grading authorities who were left stunned by the results. And upon its authentication and detailed examination by multiple agencies including NGC and PCGS, the coin received a near-perfect grade with a designation for multiple mint errors never before seen on a single coin from this era, and once word of its existence leaked to the coin-collecting elite, a bidding war erupted, with offers flying in from private collectors, hedge fund managers, museums, historical archives, and even royal families from Europe and the Middle East who desired to own what many now call the Holy Grail of US cents, and after several rounds of confidential negotiations and verifications, the coin was ultimately purchased at a private auction for an unprecedented $650 million, making it the most expensive 1-cent coin ever sold and placing it among the top tier of collectible assets worldwide, rivaling fine art, rare manuscripts, and even gemstones in value. And the coin is now held in an undisclosed location under museum-grade climate-controlled conditions and guarded by biometric security, only displayed twice per year at elite numismatic gatherings where It is met with reverence and awe, and the legacy of the 1997 1-cent coin continues to ripple outward, inspiring a renewed wave of interest in modern penny errors, increased scrutiny of change in circulation, and a realization that even in an age of automation and quality control, the possibility of a minting miracle still exists. And as collectors continue to comb through bank rolls, estate collections, and attic boxes hoping to find their own version of this incredible coin, the story of the $650 million 1997 1-cent stands as a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of anomalies, and a shining example of how perfection lies not in flawlessness, but in the rare and beautiful intersection of imperfection, history, and timing. And it proves once and for all that sometimes, the most ordinary object, a coin meant to be spent and forgotten, can carry within it the weight of a story so massive, so miraculous, and so momentous that it changes everything we thought we knew about value, rarity, and the unexpected treasures hidden in the smallest corners of our world. Next 2021 1-cent coin, we unlock the hidden fortunes hiding in plain sight and turn your pocket change into stories of staggering value. And today we bring you the phenomenal tale of the 2021 1-cent coin, a Lincoln penny that has not only captivated coin collectors and numismatists worldwide but has shattered auction records by being valued at an astounding $32 million due to its extraordinary minting errors, unusual features, and an almost impossible convergence of flaws that transformed it from a common coin into one of the most celebrated numismatic anomalies of our time. And what makes this story so compelling is not only the coin's astronomical price tag but also the fact that it emerged from one of the most technologically advanced minting periods in U.S. history, where automation, precision engineering, and rigorous quality control are supposed to eliminate the very types of errors that this coin displays in such stunning detail, making its existence not only improbable but downright miraculous. And as we peel back the layers of what makes this particular 2021 penny so valuable, we must begin with the very first feature that caught the attention of a sharp-eyed collector in California, a bold and unmistakable double-die obverse, where the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2021 all show dramatic and well-separated doubling, with the split of the letters and numbers clearly visible to the naked eye and producing a ghostly shadow effect that is normally the result of multiple misaligned impressions during the hubbing process, something that is exceedingly rare in modern coinage where digital die production is the norm. And yet somehow, this error slipped through the cracks, and it didn't stop there, because upon further inspection, it became apparent that the coin had also been struck on the wrong planchette, a discovery that sent ripples through the numismatic world because this 1-cent coin, which should have been struck on a copper plated zinc planchette weighing 2.5 grams, was instead found to be struck on a planchette made of a nickel-based alloy weighing 5 grams, consistent with either a Jefferson nickel or a foreign denomination produced at the same facility. And this transitional planchette error is one of the most highly sought-after and rare types of minting mistakes, especially when paired with strong doubling on the obverse. And then came the revelation of a striking misalignment, the 20% off-center strike that left a large blank crescent on the upper right quadrant of the coin while still retaining enough of the design to clearly identify the portrait of Lincoln and all key inscriptions, making it visually distinctive and further increasing its appeal to error coin collectors. And it didn't end there, because this same coin also features a brokerage error on the reverse, where instead of the usual depiction of the Lincoln memorial or shield, the reverse displays a mirrored and incused image of the obverse design caused by the coin being struck against another cent that was not properly ejected, creating a ghostly reverse Lincoln bust that is backward and indented into the coin's surface. And this dramatic brokerage, coupled with the off-center strike and double-die obverse, had experts scratching their heads and questioning how so many significant errors could occur on a single coin in the highly automated modern minting era. But the surprises didn't end there, because this coin also showed evidence of being double-struck, with the second strike slightly rotated and overlapping the first, causing a halo-like effect around Lincoln's profile and a disjointed appearance to the text that is both unsettling and mesmerizing. And under microscopic analysis, faint signs of die clash marks could be seen, indicating that the obverse and reverse dies may have struck each other without a planchette in place at some point, leaving behind ghostly impressions of design elements in places they shouldn't be, such as the top of Lincoln's head showing faint lines from the shield design normally found on the reverse of a shield cent, and when all of these features were considered together, the numismatic community recognized that this was no ordinary error coin but a unicorn, an impossible combination of errors that should statistically never occur together, particularly in a minting year as recent as 2021 when quality control processes are monitored by sophisticated imaging systems, sensors, and personnel with extensive training. Yet somehow, this one coin defied all odds and survived the minting process with every one of its flaws intact, and it was discovered not in a collector's bag or a mint-sealed roll but in a random pile of change from a gas station, found by a teenager who was simply fascinated by coins and decided to take a closer look with a pocket magnifier. And from there it was brought to the attention of a local coin dealer, who immediately recognized its potential and submitted it to PCGS and NGC for authentication and grading, where both services verified its errors, confirmed the planchette composition, and awarded it a mint error designation that had never been issued before due to the unique convergence of flaws, and news of the coin spread like wildfire, first through coin forums, then collector conventions, and finally to the mainstream press. And when the coin was finally put up for private auction, collectors and investors from around the world flocked to bid, including royalty, hedge funds, tech billionaires, and historical museums, and after intense competition, the coin sold for a staggering $32 million, making it the most expensive modern 1-cent coin ever sold and placing it in the upper echelons of rare coin history alongside $1,804 and 1933 double eagles. And what makes this coin story even more compelling is the number of theories that have emerged to explain how such a confluence of errors could occur, with some experts suggesting that it may have been struck during a transition period when the Denver Mint was retooling its equipment for different denominations or even test striking foreign contract coinage, which may have led to the wrong planchets and dies being temporarily loaded into the presses, while others speculate that the coin may have been part of a batch produced during a temporary shutdown or equipment failure that bypassed normal quality control, and the idea that such a mistake could go undetected raises questions about the complexity and fallibility of modern minting systems, reminding us that even with the best technology, human oversight and machine failure can still produce extraordinary results, and the 2021 penny in question has since been the subject of academic papers, numismatic documentaries, and museum exhibits, all of which analyze its features in painstaking detail and celebrate it as an example of the unexpected beauty of imperfection. And since its discovery, countless collectors have turned their attention to 2021 pennies, hoping to find companion errors or related anomalies that might hint at a broader issue during that minting period. And though a few minor misalignments and dyed chips have been found, nothing even remotely close to the scope of the $32 million specimen has surfaced, reinforcing its status as a singular artifact, a coin born from chaos, accident, and improbability, and it now resides in a high-security vault in a private collection, occasionally loaned out for public viewing at major numismatic events, where it draws thousands of spectators eager to glimpse the modern coin that defied all odds, and its story continues to inspire collectors, treasure hunters, and historians alike, proving that even in the most regulated systems, magic can happen, and that the next million-dollar discovery might be sitting unnoticed in a pocket, cash register, or couch cushion, and so the next time you receive a penny in change, especially one from 2021, take a closer look, because lightning has already struck once, and in the world of coins, anything is possible, and in that little copper disc might lie a tale of minting madness, mechanical mishaps, and multimillion-dollar mystery just waiting to be discovered. Next 1979 coin, we turn everyday coins into million-dollar mysteries and bring you the most fascinating stories from the world of rare and valuable numismatics, and today we're diving into the incredible journey of a 1979 1-cent coin. A simple Lincoln penny that has rocked the coin collecting community by being valued at a jaw-dropping $32 million due to a confluence of extraordinary minting errors, mechanical failures, transitional planchette anomalies, and historical oddities that make this coin not just rare, but a once-in-a-lifetime numismatic marvel. And this specific coin, though struck during what appeared to be a routine production year, managed to emerge from the Denver Mint with a cascade of impossible features that have driven its value to the stratosphere. And as we peel back the layers of what makes this coin so valuable, we must start with the first and most visible of its errors, a dramatic double die obverse that displays some of the boldest doubling ever seen in a Lincoln cent, with the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1979 all showing clear, defined doubling that is easily seen without magnification and forms distinct, separated impressions on the coin's surface, indicating a failure in the die creation process where the hub pressed the design onto the die multiple times but at slightly misaligned angles. A process which rarely produces such bold and photographic doubling, and this alone would have made the coin immensely collectible, but it's only the beginning, because the coin was also struck off-center by about 35%, which caused a significant crescent-shaped blank area on the coin's surface while still retaining enough of Lincoln's profile and the reverse design to make the coin clearly identifiable, and this level of off-center striking while preserving the essential element of the design is rare and desirable. But the real jaw-dropper comes in the form of a double denomination strike, because this coin was not just struck once, it was originally struck as a dime and then later struck again as a penny, creating a surreal and mind-bending overlay where the reverse design of a Roosevelt dime can still be faintly seen underneath the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, producing a hybrid design that shouldn't exist under any circumstance and is considered one of the most baffling minting errors possible. And for a coin to be double struck on two different denominations, it must involve a rare accident where a previously struck dime planchette re-entered the coin press and was struck again by Lincoln cent dies, and this indicates a failure in sorting and quality control so profound that it has no precedent in the 1970s mintage record, and even more bizarre is the fact that this particular coin was struck on a transitional planchette, one believed to have been intended for foreign coinage or test strikes, as metallurgical analysis revealed the presence of a bronze alloy different from the standard copper-based planchets used at the time, with traces of nickel and tin that suggest either experimental use or leftover materials from an older coin series, and this has led to speculation that this coin may have been part of a secret test batch or the result of equipment used for foreign contract coinage which the US Mint was known to handle from time to time. And adding to the mystique is a significant die crack that runs from Lincoln's hairline down across his cheek and toward the date, a raised irregular ridge that indicates a damaged die was allowed to continue striking coins beyond its intended lifespan, and combined with this is a massive rim cut at the 7 o'clock position where a chunk of the die broke off and allowed metal to flow into the gap, creating a bulbous, raised distortion that further separates this coin from any of its contemporaries. And the coin also displays a partial brokerage on the reverse side where part of the memorial is ghosted or mirrored due to it being struck against another coin still stuck in the die, which left behind an incused image in reverse on the next strike, and when this brokerage combines with the underlying dime reverse and the overlay of the Lincoln Memorial, it creates a layered visual effect that is utterly unique in American coinage, and if all that weren't enough, the 1979 1 cent in question also features a full 180-degree rotated die alignment, meaning when you flip the coin top to bottom, the reverse is completely upside down relative to the obverse, a striking minting error caused by improper die setup that is exceptionally rare, especially when combined with so many other anomalies, and this coin's journey into the public eye is just as remarkable as its physical characteristics, having been discovered not in a treasure chest or auction lot, but in a cigar box of loose change inherited by a teenager in New Jersey from his grandfather, who had casually saved old coins over decades without any idea of their potential value, and it was only when the grandson began sorting through them out of curiosity that he noticed the strange doubling and odd shape of this one particular 1979 penny, and upon further inspection using a jeweller's loupe and a digital scale, he noticed the unusual weight and faint outline of a second coin design, which led him to post photos of the coin on an online coin collectors forum where it quickly caught fire and drew the attention of seasoned experts and collectors who immediately recognized the combination of visible doubling, off-center strike, and abnormal planchette as something potentially historic, and within weeks the coin was submitted to both PCGS and NGC for grading and analysis, where it received the highest possible error designations and was deemed a one-of-a-kind minting event, which triggered a cascade of offers from private collectors, auction houses, and institutions eager to own this modern marvel of minting failure, and eventually the coin was sold in a record-breaking private auction for $32 million to a group of investors and numismatic enthusiasts who now insure and store the coin in a high-security, climate-controlled vault in Switzerland, where it is occasionally loaned out to major numismatic exhibits under 24-hour security, and the story of this coin has since become legendary in coin collecting circles. symbolizing how an overlooked piece of spare change can carry historical weight and multi-million-dollar potential if it possesses the right mix of anomalies, provenance, and documentation. And the 1979 1-cent error coin has inspired a renewed wave of interest in Lincoln pennies from the late 1970s and early 1980s, with collectors now re-examining thousands of circulated examples in the hope of uncovering even a fraction of the errors that came together in such rare harmony in this particular coin. And it's not just about the monetary value, because what this coin represents is the convergence of chance, mechanical failure, procedural oversight, and historical context, a living artifact that embodies the chaos and complexity of the minting process, and it has prompted deeper research into the conditions at the Denver Mint during 1979, where die maintenance logs and production records suggest an uptick in errors due to equipment strain and increased output demands, potentially opening the door to other rare specimens from that year still waiting to be discovered. And the legend of the 1979 1-cent continues to grow with each passing year, inspiring coin hunters, researchers, and enthusiasts around the globe to look more closely at their spare change and remember that sometimes, the most unassuming object, a penny forgotten in a drawer, can hold within it a story worth millions, both in dollars and in the cultural and historical insight it offers into one of the most intricate and unpredictable industrial processes ever devised by man. And so the next time you come across a 1979 penny, don't just toss it aside, flip it over, weigh it, examine it under magnification, because hidden among the ordinary may be a coin that, like this incredible specimen, carries a value not defined by its denomination, but by its story, its scars, and its spectacular journey through the world of minting anomalies. Last 1962 D coins speak louder than gold bars, and the tiniest copper pieces reveal stories of mystery, fortune, and unimaginable value. And today we delve deep into the mind-blowing tale of a 1962 D 1-cent coin that stunned the numismatic world and reached an astronomical value of $20 million, not because of any inherent rarity in the year it was minted or due to historical provenance, but because of a staggering combination of rare mint errors, structural oddities, and composition anomalies that converged in one miraculous example of flawed perfection that defied mint protocols and catapulted this single coin from pocket change to an auction blockbuster. And this tale begins not in a collector's catalog or a secure vault, but in the dusty attic of a World War II veteran's home in Oklahoma, where an old coffee can of loose pennies had sat untouched for over 3 decades until the homeowner's grandson, a budding coin enthusiast, decided to sift through it for fun and stumbled across a coin that immediately struck him as different, a 1962 penny from the Denver Mint, bearing a D mint mark under the date, but with a strange appearance that immediately caught his eye. And as he studied the coin more closely with a simple magnifying glass, he began to notice peculiarities, starting with an unmistakable doubling in the inscription "In God We Trust" that continued across the word liberty and onto the date itself, with clear, sharp separation of the letters and numbers that indicated this was not simple machine doubling but a true double die obverse, where the design was impressed into the working die twice in slightly different positions during the die-making process, a mistake that only occurred when the mint's older equipment suffered alignment issues. And this was merely the first of many startling features on this coin, because as he flipped the coin over, he noticed that the reverse design, the Lincoln Memorial introduced just a few years earlier, appeared rotated by nearly 180 degrees, meaning when the coin was flipped vertically the reverse was upside down compared to the obverse, an error known as rotated die alignment, one that is rare on its own and usually minor when present. But this coin's rotation was nearly perfect and immediately raised the stakes, and yet even these dramatic traits weren't what made the coin headline worthy, because the coin also displayed a striking off-center error of approximately 15%, with the outer edge of the design on the obverse shifted far enough to leave a crescent-shaped blank area while still allowing Lincoln's full portrait and the mint mark to be visible, a feature that increased its visual appeal significantly among error coin collectors. And as if that wasn't enough, under closer inspection it was found that the coin's rim displayed evidence of a partial collar strike, meaning the retaining collar that normally forms the coin's perfectly round edge had failed during striking, leading to a slight but noticeable distortion in shape and a finned rim effect that further suggested this coin was struck in unusual conditions. But what truly pushed this coin into the realm of legend was its planchette, This 1962 D cent was struck on a transitional bronze planchet that bore traces of a foreign composition, not the usual 95% copper with 5% tin and zinc, but a different alloy with subtle differences in density and color, which metallurgical analysis later revealed to contain manganese and traces of nickel, suggesting that it was either a test planchet or a foreign coin blank mistakenly fed into the Lincoln cent production line, possibly related to contract coinage being produced at the time for South American or Caribbean nations, and the presence of this foreign metal planchet alone would have made the coin extremely rare, but when combined with the double die obverse, rotated dies, off-center strike, partial collar, and distinctive weight that differed from the standard 3.11 grams, the coin emerged as a virtually impossible anomaly, and yet the story deepened even further as numismatists examined the reverse side and discovered elements of a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies had struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving faint but discernible ghost images of Lincoln's profile pressed into the reverse field near the memorial steps, and to top it off, this same coin also featured a substantial die crack that extended from the rim through Lincoln's shoulder and into the field behind his head, a jagged raised line of metal caused by a fractured die, and adjacent to that was a small but well-formed die chip on the 9 in the date, which created what collectors call a blob numeral, making the 1962 appear even more distinctive, and taken together, all these factors pointed to a coin that was struck during a period of severe die deterioration, mechanical malfunction, and possibly under non-standard operating conditions, which in turn fueled speculation that the coin may have been created during a night shift, a period of low supervision, or even during a rushed production run to meet output quotas, all scenarios where minting anomalies are more likely to occur and escape detection. And once this miraculous coin was authenticated and graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, it was labeled as an MS-60 for red mint error with no fewer than 7 distinct error designations, making it not just an exceptional error coin but a uniquely multifaceted one, and as news of its existence spread through numismatic circles, collectors began to speculate on its market value, with initial estimates placing it in the low 6 figures, but as photos circulated online and at coin shows, the buzz grew and prominent collectors began to express interest, leading to a private auction facilitated by Heritage Auctions where an anonymous European investor with a passion for rare American coinage placed the winning bid of $20 million, shattering all previous records for a Lincoln cent and establishing the 1962 D cent as one of the most valuable small denomination coins in world history, and this unprecedented sale sent shockwaves through the hobby, inspiring a surge of interest in early 1960s Lincoln cents, particularly those from the Denver Mint, and sparked a renewed push to investigate mint records from the era to determine whether any procedural abnormalities might explain how such a coin could have been produced, with some researchers positing that the coin may have been part of a short-lived test batch or a transitional strike during a planchet material change, while others believe that a misfeed of foreign blanks or an equipment calibration mishap allowed this singular example to pass through multiple quality control checks unnoticed, and whatever the explanation, the coin's combination of features, historical context, and immaculate preservation have placed it at the pinnacle of error coin collecting, with numismatic scholars now referring to it as the Denver Miracle Cent and including it in lectures, books, and exhibitions as a case study in how even the most tightly controlled minting operations can produce one-of-a-kind masterpieces, and today the coin resides in a secure Swiss vault, part of a private collection rumored to include several other multi-million-dollar rarities, though it is occasionally loaned for high-profile exhibits in major financial and cultural capitals, and its presence always draws crowds of collectors, historians, and curious onlookers who marvel at how so many flaws, each statistically rare on its own, could have come together in a single penny to create something worth $20 million, and this coin's legacy continues to grow with each passing year, inspiring collectors of all ages to take a second look at the change in their pockets, to appreciate the intricacies of minting and the beauty of imperfection, and to remember that somewhere among the billions of mass-produced coins, there still lie hidden treasures waiting to be discovered, each with a story as rich and improbable as the 1962 D1 cent, a coin that proves beyond all doubt that even the smallest piece of copper can carry the weight of history, mystery, and fortune beyond imagination.